Well, the Winnipeg New Music Festival kicks off in earnest next week, but music fans will get a taste of what to expect on Saturday afternoon. And that's when students from Brandon University will take the stage at the Carol Shields Auditorium at the Millennium Library for a concert called New Music Emerging. The program features works that have barely let the ink dry on the page. And it's just part of the education that students at Brandon University expect and share with their community and now with ours. Dr. Leanne Zacharias is an instructor of cello performance at Brandon University, and she joins us live here in the Classic 107 studios this morning. Good morning, Leanne.
Hi, nice to see you.
We're also joined this morning by Ariadna Ortega, a cello performance student at Brandon University, joining us from Brandon, I understand, this morning. Hello, Ariadna.
Hello. Good morning, everyone.
So, I'm going to start with you here, Leanne. What does it mean for Brandon University to be collaborating in the Winnipeg New Music Festival this year? What's it like to be able to showcase what BU can do?
Well, we're so excited to have this opportunity to bring students from our performance program, undergraduate students and master students, to perform at the library at the Carol Shields Auditorium. It means a lot. You know, Brandon's close, but that 2.5-hour drive in winter is sometimes daunting depending on the weather. And sometimes we have plans to bring in students, or students have plans to take in the New Music Festival. But some years it works, some years it doesn't, depending on the weather. So, you know, fingers crossed, the Saturday's going to be great road-wise. And yeah, we have a thriving new music program in Brandon. So many of our students and my colleagues are, you know, specialists in new music, and so we're thrilled to offer this opportunity for our students.
Sure, yeah, Brandon, definitely a repository for and a laboratory in some senses for those kinds of new works. Ariadna, tell me a little bit about the work that you do on the cello and how it relates to this sort of new music exploration that Brandon University is so well known for.
Well, I'm doing my master's here in Brandon with Dr. Zacharias, and my goal right now is to be able to focus on new music. I love collaborating with composers. I love exploring extended techniques. I love working with electronics, video, and audio, and I am trying to be more of an expert in that area right now. That's the focus of my master, so this fits perfectly.
So the work that you'll be performing on Saturday, I understand, is a collaboration with Brandon University composer Nick Bray, who was featured here on the program just a couple of weeks ago because he won the Emerging Composer Competition presented by the Prairie chapter of the Canadian Music Centre. Can you tell us a little bit, Ariadna, about the work that you and Nick are working on together and what people can expect on Saturday without giving too much away? Because obviously people got to come and hear it in person.
Yes, this is very exciting. Well, I think this is one of Nick's first solo instrument works. He has done a lot of orchestra and large ensemble, or his most of his work is for orchestra and large ensemble. And this is like he wanted to do a contrast. And I mean, we've known each other for 2 years now, and we've seen each other working, we've seen each other's music, and he wanted to do this for me, which is an honor and which is exciting. So this piece was called cello solo piece until yesterday, and now it has a name, which is Tiensburn the Orlan, which is an anagram of Leonard Bernstein's name. I think by this point, like, Nick's music explores the influences that he has, like some jazz influence in American jazz music, American music, but we can hear some catchy rhythm, some melodies, gestures. So we're gonna hear all of that in Nick's piece. It has like this very contrasting parts of character that are also like a characteristic, I'm sorry for repeating words, of Nick's music, that will have contrast and yes, I don't know, like it's been really fun working with Nick and like working with the score and seeing like what's best, how to grade this best, or how what's the best effective way to do this sound or get this message through. I love that.
We talked with Nick back in the early parts of January. He was talking about the influence that he felt from early 20th century French composers, as I recall, composers like Poulenc and Ravel. What is it about Leonard Bernstein's music that has captured the two of you, and how are you channeling not just the composer's language, but maybe the ethos of Bernstein into this new score that you're working on?
Well, I honestly think at this point, this is something like, because I said to Nick at first, well, what is this about? Like, he didn't come with a concept or an idea first. It was just the music, and that's fine with me. But I wanted to ask him, well, what is the idea behind? And he had a hard time telling me. So he was just like, well, I just wrote this, and I was like, oh, I had this idea, and I think this could go well for cello solo. And then like more ideas came, and they were like, he was just putting them on the paper. And I think now he is like looking at it as it is, like he has heard it in person, for me. And now he's thinking what the idea behind of it was, but I don't think he came with the idea first and then the music. I think it was the other way, if that makes sense.
Okay.
So we're solving it now.
Yeah, sure. Leanne, when students under your tutelage are working on pieces like this, and it's based on an idea before it gets to the actual music, as Ariadna is describing, what sorts of advice or mentorship can you and your BU colleagues offer these students to help encourage them along their way?
Oh, that's a good question. I mean, it's always a really fine line between being influenced by some of the greats, be it performers or composers or conductors, but also finding one's own voice and one's own unique language and style as a performer and as an interpreter. So for myself, with my cello students, and also with Nick, I don't teach composition, but I've worked with him in many settings at the university. And I would say that's the balance we're trying to strike as educators. We're trying to obviously teach the history and teach the important parts of our lineage, be it from jazz, be it from classical and other musical genres, but also helping students use that opportunity as a student to take advantage of the scholastic environment where it's easy to find a cellist to play your solo piece because you're already friends and you know each other quite well, as Ariadna described. So taking those opportunities to experiment more than one might feel comfortable doing once you're out in the freelance world, right?
Sure.
So letting, as you said before, letting the environment of the university be like a laboratory. So yeah, I think that's what we do, is try to strike a balance and slowly over time explore one's own voice.
So you're teaching students, you're mentoring these students along in their history and in their education on I guess a more intellectual level, but you're also, especially when it comes to your student Ariadna here, you're also mentoring them in technique and fundamentals required to be a cello performer. How do you go about teaching technique in music that Ariadna clearly loves to perform and oftentimes will throw technique out the window in a contemporary setting?
Oh, this is such a good question. I mean, 1 hour a week is never enough, that's for sure. But Ariadna is a great example of a musician who knows that her priority is new music, and she already is very experienced in that, but she's also playing a Bach suite and appreciates the music for what it is, but also what it does to build and maintain one's fundamental technique to play music like Bach from the 1700s and new works that are developing one's technique. One of my teachers, Paul Marlene, who's probably well known to Winnipeg audiences, wonderful cellist who's based in Ottawa now, he was my teacher when I was an undergraduate student. And I remember him saying, every piece you play should develop your technique in a new way. Or maybe the wording might have been more like, our technique develops with every piece. And I still abide by that. It's absolutely true. It doesn't matter what era of music history it's from. So we think of contemporary works as, helping us develop new extended techniques. But Prokofiev did that too. And indeed, Bach did that. And even composers before Bach, as you know, because you're a performer as well. So, it's always about technique, and it's always about interpretive voice, no matter what era the repertoire is from.
Sure. Ariadna, I love this image that Leanne has just conjured, that your technique develops with every piece. How does performing a Bach suite inform the piece that maybe you are about to share with Winnipeg audiences on Saturday afternoon?
Well, right now I'm working on that this last term I was working on the sixth cello Bach suite, which is, I think, like one of the hardest pieces for the cello. There's a bunch of hard pieces for cello. I think that's one of them. And as working through it, I had to come up with different exercises and different ways to be able to navigate comfortably the cello with good or with sound or with certain sound that I was looking for, but especially the left hand I'm referring to. And it just shows like the way that I felt after that, after doing all those exercises and after being able to play 1, 2, 3 movements, how the hand just responds. And it's like, then you're just able to do more things more easily. It's just that's what technique is for, to allow you to be free and to be thinking less whenever you want to let go of it, or whenever you have to let go of it, whenever you want to approach things. You don't have a lot of time. For example, right now I'm working with Nick like this week. We just met yesterday, I think. Yeah, I don't know. That's well, that's on the technique part, and on the interpretive part is just as Leanne said. It seems hard maybe to understand like how approaching some music from early music can be similar to new music, but in reality it's just what is the score telling us? What is the score not telling us? What is the score wanting from us? What can I get from the composer? What can I not get from the composer? And how my technique can highlight those intentions and those ideas that I am having, or that I want to communicate.
Your teacher's nodding along with a lot of what you're saying here, so you must be doing something right. I'll pose the same question to both of you, starting with you, Ariadna. When people come to see you on Saturday afternoon, what do you hope they take away from the concert about new music, maybe more broadly, but also about the collaborative atmosphere at Brandon University?
Well, I think, first of all, that new music can mean like a bunch of different things. Like sometimes it's approachable, sometimes it's not as approachable, sometimes it's challenging. Sometimes like it's about ideas and stories, sometimes it's about textures and like more the experience of being pushed through something maybe you're not enjoying, sometimes you are enjoying. Sometimes it looks like, it sounds like something sometimes it's completely different. I don't know. And all of that, I love that. It can be anything. And other than that, about the collaborative part, well, it's just, again, it's just happy. Like I see the names on on the program, and like I see these people in the, well, like I hear them. I mean, Carlos is my friend. The other cellist is going to be there, and we play together. We practice together sometimes. Like we see each other grow, and I think it's really, it's just really good, like to be able to now see all of us performing in another spot, like sharing, like in this festival. Like I think it's really an honor for all of us. Yes, I don't know if
Yeah, absolutely. Same question to you, maybe, Leanne. What do you hope folks take away about the experience of new music by watching Ariadna and other students that will be participating? Because I think that is there's more than just Ariadna in performance on Saturday afternoon.
Right. So it's a 1-hour recital, and there are 3 singers and 2 cellists performing. So already you get a sense of how diverse the program will be. Of course, the singers are presenting songs that have text. So each piece really comes with its own narrative, its own language, and its own libretto. So we have Stravinsky, we have Alma Mahler, we have Charles Ives, and also more contemporary composers, Cecilia Livingston, and so we decided to include some, I call it old new music. So music from the mid 1900s. When I was in school, that was still considered almost new music, which seems funny now, but, Ives, we're also hearing some Stravinsky. Ives, Stravinsky, these were the leading modernists of the 1900s, right? Mm-hmm. So influencing everyone to come after them. So we're hearing that from the singers, and then from the cellists, it's all, again, living composers, a work by Amy Brandon, who Winnipeggers might remember was one of the composers at last year's New Music Festival. She's based in Halifax, wonderful person, really exciting composer. And Jean Angeles Picardo, who is a lesser known, likely, composer from Mexico. And so both these cellists who are performing are from Mexico, so it's nice to include a composer from there. So the audience will hear a great variety, and in contrast to a full-length orchestra concert, most of this repertoire is short. So, we're hearing 5 performers, and they're all, every piece is, I would say, between 3 and 7 minutes would be the longest work. So, they're going to hear a lot of variety in 1 hour.
Yeah, and just some of the variety that you can expect to hear if you ever visit Brandon University's School of Music and see the rich display of talent and adventure that exists within the School of Music. Leanne Zacharias and Ariadna Ortega, thank you so much for joining us here on Classic 107 this morning.
Thank you, Nolan.
Thank you.